Howdy folks, welcome back to Empyrion Academy. Today we're going to look at bases and how to get started with those. And so there's two ways to start yourself a base, and so we'll look at those right now. The first is the blueprint factory. So you hit F2 and it brings up the blueprint library, and you want to select a base prefab, or you can go onto the Steam workshop and look at all the bases on the workshop and choose one from there. But we're just going to use one of the built-in prefabs. These all come with the game. And now you notice that you can't spawn it yet. It just says to factory here, and this is the materials that you're going to need in order to do that. So we'll send this to factory, and once you do that, this shows you how much you've added to the factory and how much you need. And as you see, we don't have any in here. So what we want to do is we want to put in the raw materials. Now it asks for wood planks, copper ingots, cobalt, etc., etc. So we're going to put those in here, and we're going to give it all of these parts that it needs. And notice that our numbers are turning green and our growing plots. Now it's important to note that this number here is how much you've put in. You cannot get this back. So you can't, if you put in all of your copper and you needed some of it to build something else, you can't get it back without actually producing a blueprint and spawning it into the world and then removing the parts from it in order to recycle it. So do not add in more than you need at the beginning unless you're certain that you're not going to need those resources back in any other way before that point. So once you've actually added in the amount that you need and everything is green, the start production turns on, and you notice it takes 11 minutes 25 seconds. So when you click on that, it will start. And when your timer reaches 0, you can spawn this into the world. While your blueprint's being made, you can press F2 to close this window and go around and do whatever you're going to do. Gather resources, play the game, and when it's done, it will bring up a notification telling you that it's completed. In the meantime, if you want to check on your progress, you can press F2 to see the timer again. If you want to speed up production, and this is especially important later in the game when you have bigger blueprints, what you can do is you can use premade parts. So when you put in pipes, it uses iron, pipes uses iron to make them, and so as you see here, this will give you credit for iron pieces that you need. And so you can add those in. And when you add in electronics, that uses silicone and copper, so this will give you credit for silicone and copper. And this will also speed up. You notice your production time is already down to 0 instead of being 11 minutes. So when you put these in, you put all your parts in that you need, and you have everything you need. When you start production, it will actually finish right away. So it's definitely helpful to use those. And to spawn your blueprint, you go back into your blueprint screen in F2, and you select this one that shows the little up arrow, means it's completed, and you click spawn. And now you can see a marker here on the ground that's going to show where your blueprint will spawn in to the world. And so you can place it on the ground just by clicking. And so there you go, and there is your base. And now you can go inside, and you'll need to add fuel before you can turn it on. The other way to make a base is with the starter block, and you craft that out of a core, and you can do that with your survival constructor. And so this is just a terrain placeable, just like your blueprint, except it's just the one block. And so then you would build your blocks from there. Having a base offers many advantages. One of those is protection from hostile mobs. And so as you see here, they cannot get up, or they cannot go into your base at least. And so, ha ha ha. So you are safe from the hostiles while you're inside your base. And so this is definitely useful, and you do want to get a base up and running within the first hour or so of the game, because it's usually about an hour in that the hostiles start spawning. Another advantage of a base is that you can use the oxygen dispenser to store oxygen tanks here, and you can fill up your oxygen from there without those little emergency ones. So you can definitely have a lot better time with your oxygen. The food is also improved with your base because you can make a food processor, which then allows you to put in ingredients. It's just like a constructor, and it allows you to craft food out of your raw materials. You can also add a fridge, which allows you to put your food in and keep it from spoiling. So the timer on the food does not go down while it's in a fridge that's powered on. So this is definitely helpful if you gather a bunch of meat or any other perishables. They don't expire while they're sitting in the fridge. Another thing that you can add into your base is a clone chamber, and what this does is it sets your spawn point, or it allows you to respawn at this clone chamber if you get killed. You know, if you do something stupid like, say, shooting at some raptors when you don't have enough ammo, not that anybody would actually do that. I mean, you got to be an idiot to do that, right? But yeah, you can respawn at your clone chamber whenever you get killed, and so it allows you to go back to your base instead of just spawning out in the wilderness somewhere and not knowing where you are. Once your technology has advanced enough, you can also upgrade this to a medical station. And this serves the same function as the clone station. It's a spawn point, and it also heals you when you step into it. So if you've taken damage, you can now heal without having to use medical kits and supplies. Another thing you can put on your base is cargo boxes, and these allow you lots of storage space to put all your extra stuff, so you don't have to carry everything around in your inventory anymore, which is very handy. Another thing you can put in your base is a large constructor, and this allows you to do a lot more advanced crafting that you couldn't do with the survival constructor. So as you see here, it allows you a lot more weapons and ammo and a lot more block types and etc., etc. You can build a lot of parts that you cannot build with a survival constructor. One of these is all of the HV and SV, the hover vessel and small vessel parts. So this is actually what you need in order to get started building vehicles. You can't build a hover vessel or small vessel with a survival constructor, although you can make them with the blueprints. And once you've advanced enough and you have the parts, you can also make an advanced constructor, which has even more blueprints that are not available to the large constructor. The next thing you can do with a base is grow plants, and to do that you need growing plots and sprouts, which you can get as loot. And you plant your sprouts in your growing plots, and you turn on your lights on your base, or at least you need the growing light anyway. So when you put the growing light over your plants, now they will advance and they will grow up, and you can pick them and use them in your food processor to make new foods. So you can make canned vegetables, canned meat, and all kinds of other things, and bread and all kinds of other things with your plants. Another thing you can put in your base is an ATM. Now this allows you to deposit and withdraw your credits. So once you get the gold coins and that stuff, you can put them in here, and as you see, your balance goes up. And I'm not sure if the withdrawal works yet, but the economy still has not been completed entirely, and so some of this functionality will be added in later on. The next item is turrets and ammo. And so when you add a turret onto your base, you need to supply it with ammo through an ammo box. So the ammo box can be anywhere on your base. So you open up your ammo box and you put in your ammo, and that will supply it with the ammo that it needs to shoot. Now if you go on your control panel, you press P, and you can select your turret, and you can select access, and you can also decide which type of things you want it to shoot at or not shoot at by checking these boxes. And so when you access this, you can now turn your thing and you can shoot it. So you can actually control the turret and fire it at stuff and shoot things and everything else. Another type of turret is the sentry gun. Now this one uses smaller ammo. It uses the 5.8 millimeter, and you can also access this through your control panel, and you can use it to shoot wildlife, and it can also be used to shoot wildlife on its own. So it can shoot wildlife if you go into your control panel again and you tell it to shoot predator or prey, and You allow it to do that, it should shoot at them, and for some reason it's not actually doing it right now, just to spite me. And there it goes. Now it's shooting wildlife. I had to change to survival mode. It doesn't work in creative mode for some reason. But yeah, there you go. There's shooting at wildlife with the sentry gun. Another block you can add to your base is the repair bay, and so when you land an HV or an SV on it that's been damaged, as you see here, this one has 72% damage, and it should start repairing it. As soon as you power it off, it's able to start repairing. And you can see here, you can see the little particles that are flying up out of the repair bay into the vehicle. And so if you watch here, you can see the health has now gone up to 100%. When standing anywhere in or on your base, you can press P to open up the control panel. Now this gives you access to a bunch of things. You can access any of your containers and go back, and you can access your cargo boxes, your constructors. You can open the constructor and do things. You can build stuff from within and take stuff out of the queues and all of that, as if you're standing right next to it. You can also use the food processor in the same way, and the fridges, fill your fuel and fill your oxygen tanks. You cannot access the oxygen station itself from the control panel, but otherwise you can pretty much do a lot of these things here, and you can also access your turrets. And the other thing you can do is you can switch on the lights. Now there is the T key to switch the lights on and off like this, but say you want to save energy for some reason, you want to turn off only the regular lights and not the grow light, you can go into your control panel, and if you create a group, which in this case the group is already created, you can take this light group and turn it off, and you can leave this one on. And so you can turn on and off different groups, each group that has the little active switch right there. After you've placed your first base on a planet, you'll probably get drone attacks. Now there are some conditions that will not trigger them, such as taking over a POI, but generally if you place your own base, your starter block, or a blueprint, then you will get the drone attacks. These come from the drone base, and so they have to fly around the planet from wherever the drone base is to your base, and you will get an alert that shows up first, and that will tell you that they're coming. When the drones arrive, your base will try to defend itself if it has any turrets, so it will shoot them down, and the cannon turrets are really effective for that, as you can see. These drone attacks will come in waves, and right now there's only about 3 or 4 before they stop, even if you don't destroy the drone base first. Another way to protect your base from drone attacks is to put it underground. The drones cannot target your base through the ground, and so they'll just fly around nearby. And you do have to watch out when you come in and out of your base if they're sitting there, but they won't actually come after your base, and you don't need to put up turrets to defend it at that point. And there you go. That's about all you need to know to get started with bases and to use them effectively. So if there's anything else I missed, make sure to leave something in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. Thanks, and see you next time.